All right. So we're going to continue on with the unit conversions here, using these guys at the top and other conversions that may not be listed, but we should kind of know just from everyday use. You have to go through and solve these. So we had two examples here, converting from seconds to hours to days, years into minutes. Okay, in order to go from one unit to the next, you have to have the same unit on top and bottom so they cancel. If they are not, they will not cancel, and then you will pretty much wind up with the wrong answer here. And then we had another example here with the 100 yards into meters. Up top, we didn't have one conversion that went from yards to meters, but we have 1 yard and 3 feet, and then 1 meter and 3 feet. So we wound up taking yards and then used the 1 yard to 3 feet, yard having to be on bottom because we already have one on top. They cancel. That left us in feet. And then we can go from feet to meter because of the conversion of 1 meter is equal to 3.28 feet. And because of that, we needed to have feet on bottom and then meter on top, feet on top and bottom, cancel, left us with the desired unit of meters. And then what we do is you multiply everybody on top and then divide by what is on bottom. Now, for the reverse side of this, so for the reverse side of this, it's a little bit different because we have a unit conversion per another unit. So if that happens, like on the front, our guy in the starting spot was over nothing. So we didn't have to worry about anything over there. Well, now we're going to have to worry about a couple things here. So we got to go from 60 miles per hour into meters per second. So we are going to have miles on top. We don't have a miles to meter conversion on our paper, right? We do not. I do not believe I see one. So what we do have, though, is miles to kilometers and then kilometer to meter. So that is kind of what the process would be here. We would go from miles to kilometer and then kilometers to meters. And then on the bottom, we would go from hours to second. Now we do have that conversion listed for us as 1 hour and 3,600 seconds. So we're going to go hour to seconds. Okay, so now for the setup. You're still going to take your starting number, okay, and put that in kind of the starting position except for one thing. All right, we have 60 miles, but since it's per something, that per is going to be going straight underneath it. So it's per hour. We're going to put 1 hour underneath it. So how we would do this is you treat the top just like we did on the front side. All right. Basically, there are two rules, all right, for these rate conversions is to convert the top unit into the desired unit we want first. So we want to get our miles into meters first. And then we will convert the bottom unit into the desired unit. So let's see, what are our conversions? 60 miles to kilometers. Miles to kilometers, we have 1 mile and 1.6 kilometers. Since we have miles on top, we need the mile on bottom. So we have 1 mile that would need to go on bottom. And this 1.6 km, kilometers, would go on top. So we have miles on top, mile on bottom, those cancel. Sweet. The next thing would be to get kilometers into meters, and that conversion right there. All right, 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Again, since we have kilometers on top, we need to get out of that. So that means the 1 kilometer will be on bottom, and the 1,000 meters would be on top. So kilometers cancel, Now that leaves us in our first unit that we wanted, the meter. So I'm going to just kind of put a little circle around this just so I know, okay, I'm done with that part. Okay, I'm done with like my first rule. My first step is to get top unit into the new unit that we wanted. The second piece of this is basically like pretending like this crap doesn't exist. All right, and we want to get out of hours and into seconds. Well, if hours is on bottom and we want to go to seconds, all right, where would we need to place the hour to cancel? Since hour is already on bottom here, good, on top. So we would have 1 hour, and the second piece is here, the 3600. So 3600 seconds. Now, since we have hour on top and bottom, that cancels, and that leaves us with seconds underneath. So when we calculate this, you multiply everybody on top. So we're going to do 60 times 1.6 times 1,000. Okay, so we got 60 times 1.6 times 1,000 equals, and then you divide by everybody on bottom. Now, you don't need to do the ones. You don't need to multiply or divide if they're ones, but there is a 3,600 guy down there. So we're going to take that number, divide it by 3,600, and we get an answer of 26.6, basically repeating. So we'll round it to 2 decimals. We'll call it 26.67. What would my unit be? I circled this guy on top, so it's meters. And since this guy is underneath, we give it a little slash and seconds. You can write the full word out or write m/s. Either way is fine. All right. I want to try. Let's try the 721 pounds per week into kilogram per second. All right, so I have my conversions here. Let me just fold this so we have room to work. All right, so we have our 721 pounds per week into kg per second. So on the top, I need to go from pounds to kilograms. Do I have anything on here that does that? Yes, right here. Okay, 1 and 2. So we're going to go from, wow, that was awful. We're going to go from pounds to kilogram on the top, and then on the bottom, we're going to go from week to second. But there is no one conversion. And some of them aren't listed here, but these ones we should know, right? So if I want to go from week into a second, we start with week. How many days are in a week, right? We got to break that down. We got to go from week to days, and then we can go days to hours, and then from hours we can go to seconds. Well, we could do 2 minutes, but we do have a conversion here of hours to seconds. Otherwise, it would be like 60 and 60. But since we have that one conversion, it's going to limit a step for us. So we take our first guy, put it in the starting spot. So our 721 lbs over 1 week. Okay, I want to get from pounds to kilograms first. So the conversion is kilogram 1, pounds 2, but lbs on top, so we need those lbs on the bottom. So we have 2.2 pounds on bottom. and that would give us 1 kilogram up top. So we're converted here. We're canceled out our pounds. So, all right, good. We are in our desired unit that we wanted. We are in that kg. So I'm going to little circle that because that means I go to the bottom part, and we got to work through that now. Since I'm in week, I got to get out of that. So the first conversion we were talking about was week to day. Okay, well, how many days are in a week?
7.
7. Okay, but since we have week on bottom here, and it needs to cancel, where are we going to put the week? On top? Good. So we would have 1 week on top, and those 7 days on bottom. So the weeks cancel. All right, but we're still not in seconds, so we got to continue. All right, we don't have a conversion that goes days to seconds, but we know days and hours. Even though it's not on here, that one we should know off the top of our head, which is 1 day and 24 hours. Days are on bottom, so we need day on top. So in 1 day, we have 24 hours. And so our days cancel. We're not there yet because we still have to get into seconds. And we know up here that conversion is 1 hour and 3600. So 1 hour on top, so it can cancel dude on the bottom. And we want the 3600 seconds on there, on the bottom. So the hours cancel. Now that leaves us underneath, right? The underneath side would be per when we're doing these rates, all right, or something per something. So my units would finish off as kilograms over seconds, so kilograms per second. Multiply everybody on top, but they're all ones, so we don't need to do that. And then divide by everybody on the bottom. So we're going to be doing, let's go with what, 721 divided by 2.2 equals, divided by 7 equals, divided by 24, and then divide by 3600. Dang, that seems like a very, very small amount. Well, yeah, but we're doing this many pounds per week. There's a lot of seconds in a week. So it shouldn't be that much like units of mass or weight per second. So this number does make sense, and we had 0.00, so we're going to write this out as 0.123. We'll call it 54. We'll leave 2 decimals. And my unit would be kilogram per second. All right, go one more. We're going to try one more. Okay. Anybody want to pick which one of these 4 we do? Let's do one of the gallons to liters ones. All right. So we can do the we'll do this guy first. All right, we want to go from gallons per day to liters per hour. So we got to go from gallons. I don't have a conversion up here though. Let me zoom out for a second. Or fold this over. There's no one straight conversion on here that has gallons straight to liters. Okay, so I see liter and milliliter here. That doesn't help me. Gallon and quarts. Okay, that's not quite liters. But I have quarts and liters. So I would have to go from gallons to quarts and then quarts to liters. So we're going to say gallons to quarts and then quarts to liters. And then day to hours, that's pretty simple. Okay, so let's set this guy up. given number in our starting position. All right, we have this many gallons per day, though, so it's going to be over 1 day. Okay, let's get out of gallons and into liters first. So we're going to go gallons to quarts. So gallons to quarts. To get gallons canceled, we need that on bottom. So 1 gallon and 4 quarts. So the quarts would be on top. Gallons cancel. Now we can go from quarts to liters using this conversion here. 1 quart is equal to 0.946 liters. Okay, 1 quart, that would need to go on bottom to cancel. And this 0.946 liters would go on top. So the quarts now cancel. We have 1 on top and 1 on bottom. All right, I needed to get into liters per hour, so I have my top unit in the right guy that I want. I'm just going to circle him so I know I'm done with that. And now I got to go from day to hour. So I'm basically pretending for a second like this stuff isn't there. What is the conversion for day and hour? 24 hours to 1 day. Since day is on bottom here, we need day on top, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so 1 day. And then the 24 hours would go on top. So day on bottom and day on top cancel, and that leaves us in the unit that we want down here, that per guy. So calculator, 12,080, multiply everybody on top, so times 4 times 0.946 equals some big number, and divide by everybody on bottom, but we don't need to worry about the 1, so we're just going to divide that answer by 24. And that is going to give us 1,904.61. And the units would be liters per hour. Okay.